Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Shkrets. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because today we're diving deep into the trophy wife drama that's been all over social media. I've been sitting with this story for a while, unsure whether to address it, but with all the new updates and revelations, it's time we have an honest conversation about it. Let me start by saying this is not victim blaming. The real victims here are the children, allegedly abused by their father and endangered by a mother who, instead of protecting them, seemed more focused on maintaining her luxurious lifestyle. We need to talk about that, so let's break it all down. Let's start with the GoFundMe. Trophy Wife recently posted saying, "Thank you all for your support. I can't begin to express what it means to us. For those who wonder why I did this, I was left with no option. If you feel compelled, please donate to help us start over. Anything helps. God will get the glory." Now, this sounds like a sincere plea for help, right? But here's where it starts to feel off. She claims she had a $90K a year job before meeting her husband, but if that's the case, why did she need rescuing after breaking up with her previous boyfriend? If she was so financially stable, why didn't she secure her own place instead of immediately moving in with her now husband just 1 week after breaking up? This doesn't add up. She didn't even wait to process her breakup before jumping into another relationship. Instead of taking her time, she moved in with him and even bought her own engagement ring to secure the bag. She married a man 20 years her senior who had no kids, and despite their age gap and the love bombing, she chose to have kids with him, despite him allegedly sexually assaulting her early in their marriage. If she was so financially independent, why was she relying on him for a roof over her head? It doesn't sound like she was the financially stable woman she claimed to be. It sounds like she was seeking security in exchange for something else. And that something else? Probably her peace of mind. I want to talk about the narrative floating around that Shay Ross Evans' advice somehow played a role in this woman's downfall. But let's get one thing straight. I don't think Trophy Wife was ever really following Shay Ross Evans' teachings. If she was, she would have soaked up the core message of discernment, independence, and never being desperate. But here's the thing. What I see is more of Kevin Samuels' influence. Trophy Wife was clearly more invested in the rhetoric of high-value men and being a man's piece, choosing financial stability and prestige over substance and character. She prioritized appearances, and I don't just mean her looks. She was chasing the high-value life that Kevin Samuels often preached about: wealth, status, and a man who could give her that. If Trophy Wife were a true Shay Ross Evans follower, she would have listened to the advice that discernment is key, especially when dating with kids. Shay Ross teaches women not to rush into relationships, particularly when children are involved. But Trophy Wife, instead of listening to advice that focused on protecting herself and her family, chose to ignore the red flags in favor of a luxury lifestyle.
If anybody marries somebody after 1 week, they dumb. I'm sorry. Sparkle, sparkle. If you dumb enough to do that, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry. But if you're sitting out there, you learned everything from me. Did you learn how to be smart? Did you learn how not to be desperate? You didn't learn from me. Did you hear when I said stop being desperate? Did you hear when I said don't be a pygmisha? Did you hear when I talked about background checks? Did you hear when I talked about all this other stuff? About not dealing with men if you have kids until they're old and grown enough to speak for themselves and be in school and whatnot. Did you not hear when I said all of that? Don't blame me. I tell people all the time, don't say my name if you are desperate and being pygmisha. Don't claim me. If you are desperate and you're not smart enough to get the bag, flip the money, have options. If you stupid, don't claim me. If your IQ is low, please don't claim me. I teach women to be smart, not desperate. If you're desperate, don't claim me.
This isn't Shara's fault. This is Trophy Wife making decisions based on an image she wanted to portray. Here's something I really have to address. I deeply regret that this is all playing out online. The children involved here will have their entire childhoods tied to this mess. If abuse happened, get the police involved, get justice, but don't exploit your children's trauma to make money on the internet. That's selfish. Now, credit where it's due. Isis did take her kids out of that abusive situation, and I'm glad for that. But what's truly bothering me is the timing. Why has this story come to the internet instead of to the authorities first? Why is she making this public and monetizing it before securing real justice for her children? That's what feels off about this whole thing, and we have to ask, why make the children's trauma the center of this narrative? Why expose them like this? Yes, she's escaping an abusive relationship, but the way she's going about it is problematic. If your motives are truly pure, protect your children's privacy and share your story, not theirs. A social climber's motives. Let's get into it. Trophy Wife wasn't just misguided, she was calculated. She built her content around portraying herself as a success story, someone to be admired and revered. She called herself the Trophy Wife, and that speaks volumes about her mindset. She didn't just want to be happy, she wanted to be celebrated. While some of her content may have helped other women, there were moments when she was incredibly arrogant, prideful, and conceited in her delivery.
You can easily click off if you don't agree. And to be honest, I really don't care who doesn't agree, because at the end of the day, I really don't have to be doing this. I don't have to work. I'm still, whether you like me or not, I'm still going to be rocking Chanel and driving a Porsche. So, you know, was that earlier today or yesterday? Like, oh, I could never date an older man. I can never date a man that doesn't have any swag. Why are you here? Why are you here? You are not ready. You are not going to get this lifestyle because you don't deserve it. So, as we know, most men don't prefer to date women that have already had children with somebody else. But if a man sees a woman who is a single mom being such a great mom, then it'll make him a lot more likely to reconsider dating someone with children. It's actually super sexy to see a woman mothering her children well and creating a beautiful family environment. Don't get caught looking dry, okay? Because if I catch you looking dry, -5 points. No, minus 20 points if you're looking ashy. You don't deserve to be a trophy if you're looking ashy, okay? Men pay attention to these things. Another thing I noticed, women, if you have arm hair, look at your arms right now. If there's hair on your arms, shave it off. Go upstairs and shave it off, because that's looking real masculine. It's looking real crazy. Shave that arm hair off, please.
She flexed her cars, her wealth, and her dream life online, creating a persona that was built on materialism and social status.
My first ring was 10 grand, so it wasn't a super expensive ring. And the ring I have now is 20 grand, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm ready to upgrade. When I met him, but the first car he bought me was my Porsche. That was our first Christmas together. And before that, he already had a Range Rover, so that's what I drove when we first got married. So I just drove the Range Rover, and then I picked up my own car. What do you think? Is it good? And since then, I have quite a few cars. It's easier to get my husband to buy me a car than to buy me a handbag. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. I drive all the foreigns. The foreigns are for me. Our family vehicle, it's like a big body Mercedes. That's the one that we typically drive if it's like all of us, because it's a 7-seater. He will drive that when we go out as a family. But if he's by himself, he's just going to drive the truck, and I'll drive whatever car I'm in the mood to drive. But to be honest, I'll typically just drive the Mercedes because that's just the car I'm used to driving. And it's high, so with me having heels on, I don't have to like get too low. The Porsche is very low, so I'm typically never going to drive the Porsche in the wintertime because it's just too much. And he bought me an X5 for what birthday was that? My 26th birthday. I got an X5. I don't really drive that one as much since he bought me the Mercedes. So that one kind of just sits.
I'm still, whether you like me or not, I'm still going to be rocking Chanel and driving a Porsche. So.
But here's the problem. When it came time to reveal the truth of her marriage, she didn't just share her own pain or struggle. She made her children the face of her rebrand. She knew that if she showed the world how badly her kids had been hurt, people would rush to donate. She used their trauma as a way to garner sympathy. That's not motherly, that's opportunistic. The pivotal question, is she a victim? I'm going to say it. Trophy wife is not a victim, not in the way some would want her to be. I believe abuse likely did happen, but that doesn't make her blameless. She ignored the red flags. She stayed. And yes, she was complicit in the environment that allowed her children to suffer. There's a video of her doing her makeup while her kids are crying in the background.
But I definitely understand it being hard because I stayed in situations much longer than I had to because I had children in those situations. So I understand the struggle of that. Definitely. But you know, there's that saying, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when you'll make a change, and that's very true. So it's just all about whenever you have the courage to do that. Sorry if my house is noisy in the background. I don't know how much you all can hear, but there's so many of us that it's just like that. So if you hear stuff in the background, just act like you don't.
I showed my baby sister video about dating. If you guys can hear my daughter, she's upstairs with my husband being cranky. So I just don't know how he was able to get away with it and so sneaky, because with my own trauma I watch my kids like a hawk.
Aww. If you hear my kids in the background, they're with daddy.
That's not being overwhelmed. That's being tuned out. If my kids were in distress like that, I'd be the first one to drop everything and check on them. She didn't. And that's why I can't sit here and paint her as an innocent victim. The timing of her story raises more questions. Was the abuse revealed before or after divorce talks began? Why did it take so long to get to this point? We need to keep asking these questions.
Hello everyone. My name is Dee, and I am the niece of the trophy wife's husband. Now, I know you know who the trophy wife is because she's been going up and down my timeline for the last couple of days. Her name is Isis, or Paloma, which is her real name. This lady is completely insane. Let's just start from there. Background story. Her and my uncle got together really quick. From what I've been seeing and what I've been told, she thought that she was getting a come up with my uncle. But then when things didn't go her way and she pretty much seen that she could no longer hide the things that she was doing behind closed doors, she ended up trying to find a different route, which was to come on here and lie to you all and tell you that her daughter had been touched by her dad, which that is not the case. Her daughter had been touched by her son, and she didn't want anybody to know because she wanted to try to make it seem like my uncle was the bad guy because she wasn't getting what she wanted in the divorce.
I couldn't get on here fast enough. I couldn't get on here fast enough when I heard people were trying to blame my son. I couldn't get on here fast enough. Couldn't get on here fast enough. I thought I heard someone who I've never met in my life
coming on here trying to blame my son. Someone whom I've never met in my life, trying to come on here and blame my son for the sick and disgusting things that my daughter's father was doing. This is not a game. This is not a game. How dare you? How dare you blame this on an innocent child? You talk about you got proof? You have proof? I've got proof right here. Right here. Show me your paperwork. Show me your paperwork. You talk about I am saying something different than when I was in court. Honey, you weren't even there. I've never seen you in my life. It's not very good. Oh my gosh. Y'all want to see my protective order? Y'all want to see my protective order right here? I'm going to cover my daughter's name. I'm going to cover my daughter's name. In the case of a vulnerable adult and a minor child, a relative, there is a preponderance of the evidence to believe that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Statutory abuse of a child, R word, or a statutory S offense. Father has been coming into two-year-old and 4-year-old daughter's rooms and SAing them. This is from the judge. There's the case number. It matches the records. There's the proof. There's the proof. There's the proof. I'm done. That's all. I'm done.
Let me make something clear. The husband, if guilty, is a disgusting predator who deserves to rot in jail. But we also have to understand that abuse isn't tied to money. Poor men, rich men, they can all be predators. What matters is the character of the person. Women like Isis give abusers the perfect opportunity. They prioritize financial security over stability in their relationships, and that leaves them vulnerable. It's easy for predators to slip in when someone is desperate for a lifestyle. Final thoughts. At the end of the day, I can't paint Trophy Wife as a victim. The real victims here are her children, endangered by a mother who ignored red flags and prioritized her own desires over their safety. Isis had options. She could have shared her own story of abuse, pivoted her channel to promote healing and growth, and protected her children's privacy. Instead, she chose to monetize their pain. That's not just disappointing, it's manipulative.
What do you think, guys? Do you believe Isis's story, or do you think there's more to it? And how do you feel about the role social media plays in these situations? Should we be more cautious about what we share online? Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my vibe. Until next time, stay sharp, stay intentional, and protect your peace.